Most people think they're being good, but they're actually being stupid. They confuse kindness with weakness, patience with stupidity, and generosity with self-destruction. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to accept. There are certain behaviors that mark you as prey in this world. And if you keep doing them, you'll spend your life being used, ignored, and walked over by people who see your virtue as their opportunity. Right now, as you watch this, someone in your life is taking advantage of your good nature. Someone is using your forgiveness against you. Someone is counting on your silence to keep exploiting you. And the worst part? You're letting them do it because you think it makes you a better person. But here's what Machiavelli would tell you. Power doesn't reward the meek. Success doesn't come to those who wait their turn. And respect definitely doesn't go to people who give it away for free. If you want to stop being weak, you need to stop doing the things that make you weak. And I'm about to show you exactly what those things are. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone really listened to what you had to say? When was the last time someone asked for your opinion and actually cared about your answer? When was the last time you felt like your presence mattered in a room? If you're struggling to remember, then you've fallen into the first trap that keeps people powerless forever. You've learned to make yourself small. You think it's humble to shrink back, to let others take the spotlight, to avoid taking up space. But what you call humility, the world calls invisibility. And invisible people don't get respect. They get overlooked. Every time you stay quiet when you should speak up, you're training people to ignore you. Every time you step back to let someone else go first, you're teaching them that your time doesn't matter. Every time you downplay your achievements or dismiss your own ideas, you're programming everyone around you to do the same thing. Machiavelli wrote about this 500 years ago. He said that a leader who allows himself to be doubted is already defeated. But it's not just about leadership. It's about life. If you don't value yourself, nobody else will either. If you don't take up space, someone else will take your space. If you don't speak with authority, nobody will listen to your words. Think about the people in your life who get respect. Think about the people who get heard, who get promoted, who get what they want. Do they shrink back? Do they apologize for existing? Do they wait for permission to be important? Of course not. They show up. They take space. They speak like they expect to be heard. And guess what? They are. This doesn't mean you need to be loud or aggressive. It means you need to be present. It means you need to act like you belong in every room you enter. It means you need to speak like your words have weight. Because if you don't believe in your own importance, why should anyone else? Here's what you need to understand. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every interaction is a power dynamic. And if you're not claiming your position, someone else is claiming it for you. The choice isn't whether to participate in these dynamics. The choice is whether to participate from a position of strength or weakness. Stop apologizing for having opinions. Stop prefacing your ideas with phrases like, "This might be stupid, but," or "I'm probably wrong, but." Stop asking permission to contribute to conversations you're already part of. Your thoughts matter. Your perspective has value. And if you don't treat them that way, nobody else will. The second behavior that marks you as weak is something most people think makes them strong. Unlimited forgiveness. You've been taught that forgiveness is always virtuous, that holding grudges is petty, that real strength means turning the other cheek no matter how many times you get slapped. But here's what they didn't teach you. Forgiveness without consequences is just permission to hurt you again. When you forgive someone who betrayed you without any acknowledgement of what they did wrong, without any change in their behavior, without any effort to rebuild trust, you're not being mature. You're being naive. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He said that a ruler who doesn't punish wrongdoing is commanding it to happen again. Every time you let someone off the hook without consequences, you're sending a clear message. You can do this to me and get away with it. And guess what happens next? They do it again. Think about the people in your life who have hurt you multiple times. Think about the friends who always cancel last minute, the family members who only call when they need something, the partners who keep making the same mistakes. How many times have you forgiven them? How many times have they changed? The pattern is clear, isn't it? Forgiveness has its place, but it should come after accountability, not instead of it. Real forgiveness requires the other person to acknowledge what they did, show genuine remorse, and demonstrate changed behavior. Anything less than that isn't forgiveness. It's enabling. Here's what you need to do instead. Set clear boundaries and enforce them consistently. When someone violates your trust, don't pretend it didn't happen. Address it directly. Make it clear that there are consequences for treating you poorly. And if they do it again, follow through on those consequences. This doesn't make you vindictive or petty. It makes you someone who values themselves enough to demand basic respect. It makes you someone who understands that relationships require mutual respect to function properly. It makes you someone who other people think twice before betraying. The third trap that keeps people weak is accepting criticism from people who have no right to judge you. Every day you're surrounded by people who want to tell you what you're doing wrong, how you should live your life, what decisions you should make. And for some reason you think you have to listen to all of them. But here's a hard truth. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every criticism deserves your consideration. And definitely not every person deserves access to your inner thoughts and decisions. Yet somehow, you've opened your mind to every random person who wants to dump their judgments on you. Some people criticize to help you grow. Others criticize to make themselves feel superior. Some offer feedback because they care about your success. Others tear you down because they're threatened by your potential. And if you can't tell the difference, you're going to spend your life being manipulated by people who don't have your best interests at heart. Machiavelli understood that controlling the narrative meant controlling the outcome. When you let just anyone influence your thoughts and decisions, you're giving away your power to people who might not deserve it. You're allowing others to shape your reality based on their own insecurities, prejudices, and agendas. Here's what you need to do. Create a filter system for feedback. Before you accept anyone's criticism, ask yourself 3 questions. First, does this person have experience or expertise in the area they're criticizing? Second, do they have a track record of success in their own life? Third, do they have your best interests at heart, or are they advancing their own agenda? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then their opinion doesn't deserve space in your head. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to argue with them. You just have to recognize that their words don't carry the weight they think they do. Protect your mental space like you would protect your home. You wouldn't let random strangers walk into your house and rearrange your furniture. So why do you let random people walk into your mind and rearrange your thoughts? Be selective about whose voices you allow to influence your decisions. Be protective of your mental environment. Be strategic about whose opinions you value. The fourth behavior that marks you as weak is accepting help that comes with invisible strings attached. Someone offers to help you and you think it's generosity. But later you discover that their help came with expectations, obligations, and a price you didn't know you were agreeing to pay. This is one of the oldest manipulation tactics in the book. People offer you something you need, but they don't tell you about the emotional debt you're accumulating. They help you move, but now you owe them a favor. They give you career advice, but now they expect you to follow their guidance. They support you during a difficult time, but now they expect loyalty and gratitude that goes far beyond what's reasonable. Machiavelli wrote extensively about this. He understood that gifts and favors are often tools of control disguised as kindness. When someone does something for you without being asked, especially when you didn't need their help, they're often trying to create a sense of obligation that they can use later. True generosity doesn't come with conditions. Real help doesn't create debt. Genuine support doesn't require you to surrender your independence or decision-making power. But manipulative help always does. The person offering it wants something in return, even if they don't say so up front. Here's how to protect yourself. Be very careful about accepting unsolicited help. When someone offers to do something for you, ask yourself why they're offering and what they might want in return. Pay attention to whether their help comes with subtle pressure to reciprocate in specific ways. Notice if they bring up their help later when they want something from you. And most importantly, maintain your independence. Don't let anyone's help put you in a position where you feel like you can't make your own decisions. Don't let anyone's generosity become a leash around your neck. Accept help when you need it, but make sure it's truly free help, not help with a price tag that will be revealed later. The fifth trap is believing promises from people who have no track record of following through. Words are easy. Anyone can make promises. Anyone can paint pictures of a better future. Anyone can tell you what you want to hear. But results are hard. Results require effort, sacrifice, and commitment. And most people who are quick to promise are slow to deliver. You've probably been burned by this more times than you can count. Someone promises to change, to do better, to make things right. You believe them because you want to believe them. But then nothing changes. The same patterns repeat. The same problems continue. And you're left wondering why you fell for it again. Machiavelli understood that actions reveal character in ways that words never can. He knew that what someone does when they think nobody is watching tells you everything you need to know about who they really are. He knew that promises are the currency of people who have nothing else to offer. Here's what you need to understand. Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. If someone has a pattern of making promises they don't keep, they're going to continue that pattern. If someone has a history of letting you down, they're probably going to let you down again. If someone talks a big game but never follows through, their words are worthless. Stop being seduced by potential. Stop being impressed by what people say they're going to do. Start paying attention to what they actually do, consistently over time. Judge people by their actions, not their intentions. Evaluate them based on their track record, not their promises. When someone makes you a promise, especially a big one, don't get excited. Don't change your plans based on their words. Don't count on their follow-through. Instead, wait and see. Watch what they actually do. Let them prove themselves through consistent action over time. And only then, once they've demonstrated reliability, should you start taking their promises seriously. The sixth behavior that marks you as weak is taking responsibility for things that aren't your fault. You've been conditioned to think that taking blame is mature, that owning problems shows character, that accepting fault demonstrates growth. But there's a difference between taking responsibility for your actual mistakes and becoming a dumping ground for everyone else's failures. Some people are experts at deflecting responsibility. They're masters at making their problems your fault. They're skilled at twisting situations so that you end up apologizing for things you didn't do, taking blame for outcomes you didn't cause, and carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you. This might sound familiar. Someone treats you poorly, but somehow you end up apologizing. Someone fails to meet their obligations, but you end up feeling guilty for expecting better. Someone creates drama and chaos, but you end up taking responsibility for fixing it. If this describes your life, you've become an emotional dumping ground for people who refuse to own their own mess. Machiavelli understood that accepting false blame is a form of submission. When you take responsibility for things that aren't your fault, you're giving other people permission to avoid accountability. You're teaching them that they can mess up and you'll clean it up. You're showing them that you're willing to sacrifice your reputation to protect theirs. Here's what you need to do. Get very clear about what is and isn't your responsibility. You're responsible for your actions, your choices, your words, and your reactions. You're not responsible for other people's emotions, other people's decisions, other people's failures, or other people's problems. You're not responsible for fixing things you didn't break or solving problems you didn't create. When someone tries to blame you for something that isn't your fault, don't accept it. Don't apologize for things you didn't do. Don't take on guilt that doesn't belong to you. Instead, calmly and clearly state what you are and aren't responsible for. Set the record straight. Protect your reputation and your peace of mind. The seventh and final behavior that marks you as weak is giving without reciprocity. You give your time, your energy, your resources, your emotional support, and you get nothing back. You tell yourself that giving is noble, that real love means expecting nothing in return, that good people give without keeping score. But what you call generosity, others call stupidity. Here's a hard truth. Relationships require balance to be healthy. When you're always the one giving and never the one receiving, you're not in a relationship. You're in a one-sided arrangement where you're being used. And the people using you have convinced you that your exploitation is actually virtue. Think about the people in your life who take the most from you. How much do they give back? How often do they show appreciation? How frequently do they reciprocate your kindness, your support, your generosity? If you're being honest, the answer is probably rarely or never. But somehow you keep giving anyway. Machiavelli understood that power dynamics exist in every relationship. When you give without receiving, you create an imbalance that positions you as the servant and the other person as the master. You train them to expect your generosity while offering nothing in return. You teach them that your time and energy are free while theirs are valuable. This doesn't mean you should become selfish or transactional. It means you should be strategic about where you invest your limited resources. It means you should pay attention to whether your generosity is appreciated and reciprocated. It means you should value your own time and energy enough to expect others to value it too. Here's what you need to do. Start paying attention to the balance in your relationships. Notice who always takes and who sometimes gives. Notice who shows appreciation and who takes your kindness for granted. Notice who reciprocates your support and who only shows up when they need something. Then adjust your giving accordingly. Invest more in people who invest in you. Give more to people who give back. Support people who support you. And significantly reduce what you give to people who only take. This isn't being mean or petty. This is being smart about where you put your energy. Stop giving to people who don't appreciate it. Stop supporting people who don't support you. Stop being generous with people who take your generosity for granted. Your time, energy, and resources are limited. Use them wisely. Now that you understand these 7 behaviors that mark you as weak, you need to understand something even more important. Changing these patterns isn't going to be easy. You've probably been doing these things for years, maybe decades. They've become automatic responses. They feel natural, even virtuous. But here's what Machiavelli understood that most people don't. Short-term discomfort leads to long-term power. Temporary awkwardness leads to permanent respect. Brief conflicts lead to lasting boundaries. If you're willing to endure the discomfort of changing these patterns, you'll gain something far more valuable: control over your own life. People might not like it when you start setting boundaries. They might complain when you stop accepting their bad behavior. They might get upset when you stop giving without receiving. But that's not your problem. That's their problem with losing the unfair advantage they had over you. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. They'll appreciate your newfound strength. They'll adjust their behavior to maintain a healthy relationship with you. The people who don't do these things are revealing that they were never really on your side to begin with. Here's your action plan. Pick one of these 7 behaviors and focus on changing it this week. Don't try to fix everything at once. Choose the one that resonates most with your current situation. Maybe it's learning to speak up in meetings. Maybe it's setting consequences for someone who keeps disappointing you. Maybe it's filtering the criticism you accept. Whatever it is, commit to changing it. Practice the new behavior consistently for 7 days. Notice how people react. Pay attention to how you feel. Observe what changes in your relationships and your self-respect. Then, once that behavior starts feeling natural, move on to the next one. Remember, becoming powerful isn't about dominating others. It's about controlling yourself. It's about setting standards for how you'll be treated and enforcing those standards consistently. It's about valuing yourself enough to demand basic respect from the people in your life. Machiavelli was right about human nature. People will take as much as you let them take. They'll respect you as little as you demand. They'll value you as minimally as you value yourself. But when you change these 7 behaviors, when you start operating from a position of strength instead of weakness, everything changes. You'll find that people listen when you speak. You'll discover that your time becomes more valuable to others when it becomes more valuable to you. You'll notice that respect flows toward you when you start respecting yourself. You'll realize that power isn't something you have to take from others. It's something you give to yourself by refusing to give it away. The choice is yours. You can keep doing the things that make you weak and keep getting the results you've been getting. Or you can start doing the things that make you strong and start getting the respect, recognition, and influence you deserve. Machiavelli showed us the way 500 years ago. The question is whether you're brave enough to follow it.